Good day, brothers and sisters. And today, okay, Jesse the body, he is back. And we're going to talk about the body specifically, not just Jesse's bodies. His body looks amazing. If you're not on his Instagram looking at his body, for whatever reason you're looking at his body, but for achievements, not so much for other things that you're looking for. Glenn, did you see his body?
Man, looks good. It's built like a brick shipyard. Look at the shirt on. It's so tight. It looks like you're going to break out. It looks like you've been sprayed on.
Thank you.
Jesse.
I appreciate it.
You have a competition coming up soon.
Yeah. So 10 weeks and 5 days on May 27th.
So not only have you been giving diets to other people, now you're on a diet and a regimen yourself.
Yep. Practice what you preach.
This is what, your fourth competition now?
Yeah. Fourth one.
So it should be starting to get a little bit easier.
Yes. To flip the switch to get into competition prep was very easy. Obviously, the process has its little speed bumps, but I want to say to date, it's been quite easy.
How's your diet? Like, how do you maintain your weight? What is the goal? Like, is the goal to gain weight, to lose weight? Where are you at now?
So at first the goal was to just, I wanted to stay above 155 pounds. And then I just gave up because my body was resisting too much. So I started my prep. I was 143 pounds and I went up to 162 and dropped down to about 149. And now I'm just cruising through. I'll have refeeds. I'll have cheat meals to just try to balance it, keep it up, keep the energy levels up. But I don't fight it anymore.
What is a refeed for the listeners that don't know?
So a refeed is kind of when you've been depriving yourself throughout the week or a few days, and you'll have a day of higher carbs. So what I do is I generally drop down my proteins and my fats a bit, and I'll quadruple or 6 times my carb intake to kind of fill out a little bit and just give myself a little bit of energy. And I'm also testing to see what works best with me. I'm more of a slow glycemic index type of person, so I do better with sweet potatoes. White rice just makes me feel sluggish. So,
what'd you have for breakfast?
Protein waffles.
Is it tasty?
Yes. Yes, it is.
How did you make that?
So it's 3/4 cup of oats, half a cup of Greek yogurt, a scoop of protein, 2 whole eggs, a bit of almond milk, cinnamon, monk fruit to sweeten it, baking powder, and that's about it. Blend it up and put it in the waffle maker. Top it with some 0-calorie syrup, a little bit of peanut butter, and that's it. It's about 60 grams of protein.
He's making me hungry. He should open up a restaurant.
That's his next step. That's his next venture. But I actually can't decide for myself. Is it like a taste good food or is it feel good food?
I like it. I think it tastes good and it's high volume. I got a little bit tired of eating eggs and oatmeal, so it's kind of almost the same stuff, just blended and just prepared and presented differently. So psychologically, it makes it feel a little bit better.
So how's the 0-calorie syrup? What is that? What makes it 0 calorie? Why is it sweet?
Sucralose.
Is that healthy?
Probably not as much as people would think. I don't abuse it. I know people, I used to abuse it. Now I just have it once a day. I'll have like maybe 2 tablespoons of my food and that's it.
What's the theory behind it? Like, what is let's say if I'm a health nut, right? Or just really trying to get my diet really healthy. And I'm not necessarily, I know refined sugar is the worst one you can have, maybe brown sugar or whatever other sugar you can take. What is the theory there behind like using brown sugar versus whatever you just said?
So I'm not entirely sure on all the science behind it, but it has been linked to certain diseases, to say the least. And a lot of people are more scared about the long-term effects of it than, I guess, the immediate negatives, if that makes sense.
2 most sold drugs in North America are not cocaine and heroin. The white powders are sugars and salts. It's in all the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
This is why people's health is continuously declining.
And
the sugar substitute, a lot of them are made from wood alcohol, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
One of the good substitutes is stevia.
Yeah. I'm not crazy about stevia. It's got like a bit of bizarre aftertaste. So I switched from stevia to monk fruit. I find monk fruit's a bit more palatable, a little bit more on the pricey side. Maybe not for everyone, but for me, it works.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's the-
The stevia is like 250 times sweeter than regular sugar. So you don't need much of it. But yeah, in the beginning, it is like an aftertaste. It's,
Yeah.
just a little bit, but you can get used to it, or you just
Yeah.
put less and less on, and you're not getting that insulin rush after you had all that sugar. So when you keep your insulin level relatively stable throughout the day, then your metabolism speeds up.
Yep.
But that's getting into more detailed stuff. That's why people would like to take you as a trainer, for example, because you would guide them through all that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the average person, there's just a low carb diet will make a big difference to them. They're not doing without so much. They're still getting their fats, and they can still eat certain foods that, like, I wouldn't want to eat. One of the thing was the keto diet, the actual no carb diet.
Yes.
That's been around for 25 years, and even 25 years ago, I was saying, maybe that's good in the beginning for an obese person who has a real horrible eating plan, and this can get them to change around. But it was a little bizarre to me when you said, no, you can't have any fruits. You can't have an apple, but
Yeah.
you can eat 1 pound of bacon with the meal. Like, I didn't think that was good.
I think people took the keto diet and completely shifted it to suit what they believe was good. A lot of processed fats, a lot of sausages, and like you said, like bacon, instead of good fats like nuts or avocados or whole eggs. They'll tend to take more of those comfort foods, which ultimately are not good for them to begin with.
Yeah, a lot of people, they've told me, I said, you have to do this, you do that, and they say, diets don't work for me. Wow, what kind of a being are you? What do you mean they don't work for you? You're not working the diet.
Mm-hmm.
What it is in the beginning, if you continuously do the same thing, you're going to get the same results. So if you want to change the result, well, you have to make a change. And what people do is they always resist the change because it's something new, it's a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
That's when your willpower, your determination comes in until you make it like a routine.
Yeah. So, and that's a big point that I focus on with my clients. So a lot of them are focused on losing the number on the scale when they've had poor eating habits for 30 years. So I tell them, don't focus on losing the weight. Even if you didn't lose 5 pounds in 5 months, it's okay. How are your eating habits from 5 months ago to now? Are you making better decisions? Are you making better food choices? Are you cutting out a lot of the crap? Are you making less substitutions for bad food and replacing them with good foods? And I think it's just building better nutrition habits over a long period of time, which will help these people eventually get to their weight loss goals. Because of course, when you're dealing with someone who's severely obese, you have the hormone factors to consider too, right? And someone who's severely obese, put their hormonal system in quite a lot of distress over the years. And it's not something that can be fixed in 3 weeks or maybe even 3 months of dieting. So I think focusing on the better habits and those kind of small wins will get them to their goal in due time, but also a better quality of life.
In America, 42% of adults are obese.
So you have all kinds of hormonal issues and diabetes issues and all that stuff that comes with it. My question is, what are the dangers of, let's say we'll take a middle age. Well, by the way, 43 years old is not middle age. Middle age, if we live on average 70 years, middle age is 35. But let's say somebody's past 40 and they really like, oh, I'm getting my second breath, especially women like, oh, I feel very feminine right now, and I need to, this is my last hooray before I get way too old, and men don't look at me anymore. And they get on those special diets like what would be intermittent fasting, right? But it's not. They don't go on intermittent fasting for a few days a week. They go intermittent fasting for like 9 months in a row, 10 months in a row, and then maybe they do some keto dieting in there or something else. What are the dangers of people just completely not listening to the bodies and not doing other things like exercise and proper nutrition and go on, like, let's say, intermittent fasting for 9 months or a year or over?
I think these provide more psychological damages than physical. And I know some people who have done, let's say, the keto diet for long periods of time, and now they're scared to touch carbs because obviously, if you're on a keto diet, and so for those of you who don't know, I think 1 gram of carb retains like 4 grams of water, something like that. So if you're on a keto diet and you have no carbs, and then you slowly start to introduce them, even if it's as little as 100 grams, your weight will go up a little bit because your body's retaining that water. And the second they see that number on the scale go up, they freak out. And then what do? They hypercompensate. So they do more cardio, they cut the carbs back out, they go back on keto, and they're running around a circle for X amount of time and they cannot break out of it. And I think it's issues like that that are more serious than, figuring out what diet's the best. I think people should just find a diet that they like, include foods that they like, and just, be okay with portion restriction or understand how you can substitute certain things so you can have more of the foods that you like and live a stress-free, healthier lifestyle instead of putting all these restrictions upon yourself and then feeling guilt and shame when you do fall off track and then hypercompensating and then increasing your stress levels, which puts detriment to your hormones, and it's just a vicious cycle, and people just end up hurting themselves internally, and then they wonder why they can't lose weight because they've been screwing themselves up for months on end without actually realizing the root of the problem.
Okay, I'm going back to my original question. Intermittent fasting for like if you go for long, specifically for women, and she goes for a long time on it, how does that affect the hormone production?
So it's not, I wouldn't say so much the intermittent fasting that's going to affect the hormones. It might be the lack of food. So fats dictate hormone production. So long as they're eating the right amount of stuff in their fasting window, I think it's okay. There are certain benefits to fasting. I just won't give it to people because the main reason people can't stick to a diet is because they binge eat. Or they'll have cravings and they'll have this and they'll have that. So if you're taking an individual who's got these food cravings as is, and you're restricting their time frame from eating, it's just a recipe for disaster. So instead of restricting their time frame, just give them the food that they want, allow them to eat it throughout the whole day, but just find higher volume food so they can stay more satiated for longer periods of time.
And another problem is people are focusing on what they shouldn't eat. Let's try this, everybody. Don't picture an elephant. What happens? What do?
You think of an elephant.
Obviously. So the brain can't discern what not to do and what to do. So it's the same thing when you want to make choices. People come up to me and they say, Glenn, but can I eat this? I don't want to eat this. I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat this. I tell them, no. Why don't you write a list of what you can eat and focus on that? Mm-hmm. That'll help you to keep on your game of eating what you'll be more structured that way. And it'll be a lot easier because you're going to be creating what you're focusing on.
Yeah.
What about like we live in a society where it's the instant result, instant gratification, and instead of diet and exercise, you just go for weight loss surgery, like bariatric surgery or something like this.
For some people, they have no willpower or something like that. This could save their life. I'm not pro that, obviously. I always think there's a better way. But for some people, it could save their life. But now if they lose a bit of weight, but then they keep eating the same junk that they were eating before, bad eating will manifest in many different ways. It's not just in being overweight. You start having high blood pressure, diabetes, this, that, So you're opening up yourself to a whole array of health problems that way. It can start the motion, but it's up to the individual to keep going in the positive motion. There's a lot of people, they can't do that, so at least this gives them a little bit of a push. It can help them out.
Yeah, I think it's very case dependent. I think it can save some people and help them. But ultimately, a lot of these surgeries and these quick fixes and pills is just putting a Band-Aid over the root cause of the issue. And the root cause of the issue is they have bad eating habits. So instead of focusing so much on that quick solution, and then when they get out of the surgery, they're not really going to change their way of eating. They're just going to eat the same, just less, which is not really beneficial. I mean, they'll lose the weight, but can you still consider them healthy because they lost weight? Not exactly. If you're eating pizza and crap all day, you're not really a healthy individual, even if you weigh 100 pounds.
Also, there's a lot of people who are thin, very abnormally thin, and they're not healthy. I mean, it's not just being overweight is not the only sign that you're not doing you're not healthy. Being underweight too far, like
Yep.
Well, also, isn't it like the whole purpose of dieting in general? Like, and by dieting, I mean disciplined eating, right? Conscious eating is to develop better habits in general. So if you go for a surgery, like a quick fix, you're not actually resolving or solving anything.
Exactly.
You're not changing your lifestyle. You're not changing yourself. Like people say, well, like Glenn, specifically going back to you, you know, a lot of people at the gym is like, oh, I need to get motivated for something like this. No, motivation comes second. Results come first. And then as you receive those results based on your practice, based on your discipline approach, based on changes in your behavior. And it takes time. It takes time psychologically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically to change your habits. It takes lots of time sometimes.
I think the discipline comes first, and then the results follow as a result of discipline, and then the motivation comes. Because without discipline action, you're not going to get results, right?
Another big problem is people want the results immediately. I want to change right now, you know, and I want it to do it the easiest way possible. Well, why do you want to do it easily? Why don't you just want to do it right? Don't make the decision on whether it's hard or it's easy. It's whether it's right or wrong. And when you make a lot more right decisions for yourself, you're going to have the right results that you're looking for. It's a very simple game, you know. We cloud it all up. We make it all mysterious for nothing. It's so simple. And then you have trainers that'll come to help you get in specifically, because not everybody's the same. Sometimes we want to speed up your metabolism. Some people want to gain weight. Some people want to put on some muscle. Some people just want to lose fat. So it's a multitude of things where you go see a personal trainer and they design it according to you, what you're looking for and what you need.
Yep. Specificity for the person in question.
What about okay? So surgery is a drastic example, right? What about the weight loss drugs that we hear so much about?
Ozempic, Wegovy. These were drugs for type 2 diabetics. Type 2 diabetes, by the way, that's a lifestyle disease.
Let's watch this.
Yep.
Where's the sound? Oh.
Shortage sweeps nationwide, causing problems for patients who rely on key medicines. The doctor is in now to explain why that is. Dr. Siegel, good morning to you.
Morning, Bill. Bill, Ozempic is an important drug that is approved for diabetes, but its burgeoning off-label use for weight loss is contributing to a growing shortage.
To actually be able to get on my required dose and stay on it helps me stay healthy.
Tammy Largent relies on the drug Ozempic to manage her diabetes and keep her out of the hospital. She has struggled for months to fill her prescription due to the ongoing shortage.
It's not guaranteed that I'll get the Ozempic again when it's time to refill.
And Tammy is not alone. Across the nation, thousands of diabetics are having the same problem filling their prescriptions due to off-label use of the drug for weight loss, sparked by celebrities and influencers claiming the drug changed their lives.
It's just been a spike in demand where it probably shouldn't be at this point until the FDA gives the indication for weight loss.
John Seymour, the owner of a small chain of pharmacies in Virginia, has...
So it's the celebrity's fault. It's somebody else's fault that you can't get a drug anymore.
Yeah. And I think these people should be ashamed of themselves. Like, you're in a position of influence. You should influence people to do the right things. And by pushing people and glorifying a drug, again, you're just masking the problem. And you have these people who are actually in need of this to live a, better quality of life. And then you have these people being selfish and getting their hands on it because they refuse to make better decisions and be a better version of themselves. I think it's honestly disgusting.
Isn't it part of the same issue to begin with? Like the better life choices could have been done on both of those people's parts, and they kind of fitting off each other. Now they both ripped what they saw, kind of thing.
Absolutely. I think people glorify celebrities too much, and you'll have someone who's willing to put in the effort to help them, and instead of listening to them, they'd rather listen to what a glorified celebrity says or puts out there. And a lot of these people don't understand the negative repercussions of these things long term. Is they're just looking at the short term results, but they're not actually, again, they're not getting to the root cause of the issue. And you can take all the drugs you want. What happens is there's a drug shortage and they cannot no longer get their hands on this drug. The weight's going to come back on because, again, they did nothing to address the problem to begin with. They just relied on taking a pill every morning.
Well, that's actually a real life scary question. Let's say shortage comes across some kind of, well, we're having a shortage of things now. Like last few months, people couldn't go get children's Tylenol at the pharmacy, for example, right? I'm not advocating for Tylenol or any of those drugs or anything like this. But what about real life thing? What if like Synthroid, which is a hormone regulation drug, you know?
Yeah.
What if happens like
Thyroid.
Thyroid,
Yeah.
in your thyroid. What happens then?
Like my mom is on thyroid medication. So, and it's funny you bring that up because it's actually a drug that's very popular in the bodybuilding world for weight loss. So I can just imagine if a lot of people take, or sorry, not Synthroid, Cytomel, which is to speed up the thyroid. So people like my mother who have a non-functioning thyroid rely on this medication to speed up their thyroid. But then you have these people who want to take this so they just look good on stage. It's kind of funny.
It is funny, but I'm not. This is scary. What if, let's say, you have, like you said, a family member who relies on this drug,
Well, exactly, and I do.
and we have a
Right.
shortage of drugs for whatever reason. Not even okay. Maybe that's not even bodybuilder that takes it, but what if just a shortage of that drug? Period. Like I think we rely on the pharmaceutical industry so much that we forget to kind of. There's ways. I know it's not 100% sort of like practiced, and we don't have the best practices considered. But I know you can do it for different dietary supplements. You can improve your thyroid, stimulate different ways. I'm not here.
Yes.
I'm not a specialist on this, but I know there's a ways. I know this, but they're not promoted. We still can continue to promote drug use.
Of course, because there's no money in promoting a healthy way to speed up your thyroid, but there's money in sending someone to a doctor's office to get a prescription for Cytomel.
Just like there's no money in promoting physical activity that considered, actually it's a number one frontline treatment for depression, right? Physical activity is a number one line, and that there's a scientific review / scientific study. Look, I'll pull up our article right now. Don't take, and it comes from CTV News. So if it's CTV News, it's legacy media, so it must be true, right? And the thing is, though, look at the picture.
They're both wearing a mask. Well, one of the worst things you can do is exercise with a mask on because you're breathing in more carbon dioxide. So you're going to slow down your metabolism about 35% just by doing that.
So that's CTV. Why would they, we're way past pandemic thing, but doesn't matter. The exercise is definitely the way to go when it comes down to any kind of your mental health issues. We definitely know it's for your physical health, but mental health especially. And it's also not promoted because pharmaceuticals cannot make money on that, right? And it's weird how the gyms were closed during the pandemic and all that stuff. That was, even though that was like, let's maintain the health. But we're going back, probably the people that do go to the gym, just based on the fact that they go into the environment, like Jesse, right? Don't you think the gym, in terms of like bacteria, and you know how they say as a kids you should eat a handful of dirt to improve your immune system? Gym is the good place to improve your immune system.
Yeah, you're surrounded by filth, to say the least, right?
You can't. You're hoping that the guy went to the bathroom and really, really washed his hands before he grabbed the dumbbells that you're about to grab. And I know we got all those implements to wash it and clean the environment, but can we really rely, that the person is 100% diligent with that?
No, I think you have to rely on your own immune system, which a lot of people have done a very, very, very good job at making extremely weak over the last few years, and not even including their entire lifetime through bad decisions.
What is your, I think going back to you on this thing, developing your behavior and discipline is like a number one thing for your mental health.
Absolutely. And I'll use the pandemic as an example. I never caught COVID once. And I'm not saying that I'm an outlier. It's even my ex-girlfriend at the time, she caught COVID, I think 3 times. We're sleeping in the same bed. I never caught it a single time. Never wore my mask, never washed my hands. I didn't change anything. I never caught it.
You're a heretic. They're gonna cancel us. Just
You guys
based-
can comment. You
That's
can roast me in the comment
JTB.
section.
That's JTB. That's Jesse the Body. That's one healthy machine.
But it's because I took care of myself for all these years. Like, yes, I did go through a little period of time where I was neglecting myself, but I've always eaten well. I've always made it a point to train at minimum 5 times a week. I've had adequate sleep, adequate water, supplemented correctly. And I think these are just like the basic foundations that people should do to just elevate their immune system to a significantly higher degree than where it is currently. And just doing these small little things daily, even if it's exercising for 20 minutes, which is 20 minutes more than what the average person is doing, can add, significant benefits to your life.
How about sleep? How beneficial it is to your life?
Very important. Sleep, it's when your body does all of the processes, the recovery, release of hormones. It's probably one of the most important things.
It's in with the top 3. How you eat, the amount of exercise, the type of exercise you do, and the rest that's involved to recuperate.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people bragging, I only need 5 hours sleep a night and I can function normally. The chance of that being happening is about 0. Statistically, it's a 0. Okay? You can do it for a little while, but then you won't even realize your production level, your sharpness, your brain sharpness will start deteriorating.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a minimum of 7 hours of sleep. But you get some people who'll sleep 7, 8, 9 hours sleep. But I'm talking 7 hours of a real sleep where you're actually out, like you're not twisting and turning. You're not waking up for half an hour because you have an anxiety issue or something like that. Real sleep is necessary for the proper functioning and the health of your body.
That's when the body recovers itself, right? And for your nervous system specifically, Jess, is there like weight kind of scale? How many hours you need to sleep? Let's say I'm heavy by virtue of my height, right? I'm 265 pounds. Does that mean I need more recovery because of my height and my weight?
I don't think so. No, I think it's something that might be more personalized to the individual than how their stature, right? So I'm a high functioner on little sleep. On average, I'll get 5 hours. If I get more than that, I feel very crappy the next day. I feel unproductive. I feel tired.
Do you get a nap once in a while?
Sometimes. It's very rare that I feel like I need one, but since I've been getting up at 4, I do feel the need to take a nap here and there, but no longer in like 30 minutes. I'll just rest my head for a little bit. But yeah, I think it's really dependent on the individual. I know the average person sleeps for around 7 hours of broken sleep, which is not great. We need 7 hours of quality deep REM sleep. I get around 5 of decent sleep, not amazing.
That's somebody whose job, well, it's semi-physical. You're as a personal trainer. You exercise, you're getting ready for a competition. So, that quality of sleep is ever so essential for a person like that.
Mm-hmm.
You.
Okay, so we know diet is important, exercise is important, sleep is important. All 3 of them are equally important, and you need to find balance in your life to kind of put this into your daily schedule, right? Make sure. Do you have advice like you obviously have a schedule. You specifically, I know you have. I see you at the gym, and I know you wake up at 4. I know your diet is amazing. I will follow you on Instagram. I recommend everybody follow you on Instagram. We'll post it in the description again. But is there particular routine, something that drives you to get up that early in the morning? What drives you specifically?
I look at the people who are in the positions that I want to be in. So people who have made an impact on others, people who were able to buy their dream house, their dream car, people who have all these accomplishments. And I tell myself, what do they do in a day? So normally, if you kind of copy something that someone did, you'll receive similar results, right? So I tell myself to do better than them, I need to replicate what they're doing, just do it better. So if I know that someone's getting up at 5 a.m., I'll get up at 4. So I have that extra hour on them, right? If someone's doing, for the purpose of, this competition, if I know that the guy who looks the best is doing 45 minutes of cardio, I'll do an hour. So always try to do more than the person who's already winning. And I think that's kind of what fuels my hunger is looking at the people that are at the top, replicating what they do, but trying to do it better.
So don't reinvent the bicycle, but also set the benchmark.
Yes, because if you look at all these successful people, like people that run online businesses, it comes down to the same thing. It's just creating a good product and putting it in front of the right people. And some people do that better than others, but ultimately the foundation is the same, right? The way you market your product and how many eyes and consumers can you get to purchase this product. But how you go about doing that is what separates one person from another.
And what separates one person from another is your own personal routine. So when you do it, like when you do things, when you get up in the morning, you don't necessarily get up, because I'm going to make more sales. No, you get up in the morning because you're going to be better you.
Exactly. Like from 4 a.m. to 5:30 is me time. I don't touch my phone. I'll reply to messages when I'm having my breakfast. So I'll get up at 4, I'll wash my face, and I hit the treadmill first thing. I'll do 45 minutes of treadmill in the morning, and then I'll make my breakfast. I'll review some client check-ins. I'll do what I need to do. I do my morning routine, and that's uninterrupted. Like you will not get any noise from me before 5:30 a.m.
And I think that's actually good advice because that's one of the meditations that I've learned in the recent years, that your first hour of the day should be just your time. Specifically, don't pick up your phone. Don't think of the things that you need to do for work, but think of the things that you need to do for yourself. Think of your exercise routine, think of your diet routine,
Yeah.
think of your mental routine, whatever it is. We all have different exercise and mental routines, meditation, etc.
Yeah. The first thing people do when they get up is go for their phone. Check Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, text messages, whatever it is. So yes, I touch my phone, but it's for productive purposes. So when I'm doing my cardio, I'll listen to a podcast. I'll do something productive, but I'm not going to check my messages. I have my notifications off. So if someone texts me or I receive an Instagram notification, I don't even see it until I open the app because it's just distracting. So I try to limit the distractions as much as possible so I stay focused. And I find it's really helped to increase my productivity, not just when it comes to getting ready for the show, but just overall in business. I'm more focused.
What is one last diet advice that you can give us?
Follow the diet that works best for you. Include foods that you like. Just learn how to portion control, learn how to eat in moderation, and not set such strict restrictions on yourself. I think it's more of a mindset thing than of a diet thing for most people to succeed.
Glenn, you?
Well, I think you should be continuously looking to change. This is the reason why people go through a rough time, or is because they get accustomed to the same thing. So it becomes their cycle. But when you train or when you're eating or the amount of hours you sleep, that changes with life, and life is consistently changing. So you have to get in the game of life, and you have to make these changes according to the actual changes that are happening in your life. Sometimes you need more protein in your diet. Sometimes you need more carbs. Sometimes you need less fat. Sometimes you need more fat. It depending on the individual. But you have to find out what works for you. And when you found it, remember that you have to when you find it, you have to keep adjusting it afterwards, because you're not merely existing. You're living in the game of life. So you have to change as you're moving along the timeline of life. You have to change things up. I'm sure a guy who's powerlifting or Olympic lifting or bodybuilding at 25 years old, he weighs 280 pounds, he's huge, is not going to require as little protein as what is necessary when he's 55 years old and he weighs 80 pounds less. So you constantly have to adjust, flux, change your diet, and always keep working on what's best for you. Always, like he said, every morning when you wake up, try to find a way to make yourself a better person than what you were yesterday. That's living in the game of life.
And that's why you should stay tuned to Alex's show, The Body, with Jesse the Body and Glenn Herring. That's where you're going to learn some good advices that we share here, good tricks, and we'll have different guests here. And Jesse, you're always amazing here with us. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Glenn, thank you for your wisdom as well. Thank you, brothers and sisters. We'll see you on the next one.